Hey there, welcome to Procon Grey. I'm buying a TV. Now my criteria was simple. Get the biggest TV for the smallest price possible. Now, after doing a bit of research and visiting the electronics shop near home, I zeroed in on 3 TVs and this is my shortlist. Now the first TV in my consideration set was the Mi TV Q1 75-inch. So this is a 75-inch QLED display and it launched at 1.19 lakhs, which worked for me because the budget I'd set for myself was about 1.2. Couple of things impressive about this TV. One, it's a 75-inch TV for 1.2 lakhs, 1.19 to be precise. That's really good because most other 75-inch TVs, they start at over 2 lakhs and go way higher. Second thing, it is also a QLED display. So again, better contrast, better, brighter colors. The third is that it also has full array local dimming. And I think that's about 192 zones of local dimming. So fairly tight control over the display to give you a better contrast ratio. It also has a high refresh rate of 120 Hz. Now I think this doesn't work for gaming. I think I read somewhere that the issue with the decoder where it only decodes 4K 60 and not 4K 120. If you want 120 Hz, you have to push in a 1080p signal. And I thought it looked pretty good. It's got a nice solid metal stand, looked like a good solid build. And Patchwall OS is a pretty easy interface to get used to. Now the only concern I had with this TV was the processor I think is running is a bit of a mid-range processor. So I believe it could get laggy at some point in the future. But again, this is not based on any evidence. It's just a gut feeling. The next TV on my consideration set was the Samsung The Frame 65-inch. Now this is also a QLED TV. This is by Samsung and it's 10 inches smaller, diagonal from 75-inch of the Xiaomi. This is 65 inches. However, the price was pretty much the same. It was about 1.29 lakhs. So actually a bit more expensive than the Xiaomi for a smaller TV. The other disadvantage of the Samsung over the Xiaomi was that it was an edge-lit LED display and not a full array backlit. So you had limited control on local dimming. So why consider it, right? See, here's the thing. It's party features. So one of the party tricks it does is a zero gap wall mount. So the TV is completely flush with the wall. I've not seen that on other TVs before, so this was pretty impressive when I saw it. The second party trick is that it comes with one connect box, which is great because there's only a single thin transparent wire that connects the box to the TV, and that box sends through the single cable, sends both signal and power. So what this means is when I'm connecting peripheral devices, be it laptop or sound bar or whatever else, I can connect it to the box and mount the box somewhere separately or hide it out of view. So aesthetically it was very pleasing and convenient as well, as opposed to fiddling behind TVs to find the right port, which one tends to do. Now the third interesting bit about the Samsung frame was the fact that it comes with detachable customizable bezels. And these customizable bezels, along with the fact that the TV goes flush against the wall, gives it the look of a picture frame. That coupled with the last bit I want to talk about, which is the art mode. So here the software on the TV does some tweaks to image on the screen. So if you put a painting, say it could be a famous painting, it could be a photo you took, it could be just any random deco, but it does some trickery to that photo to make it look like it's actually a painting. And it's quite convincing, especially in daytime. The screen is not very reflective, so it does a good job of making you believe that you're seeing a painting in front of you and not a television, which to me was really exciting because it actually gives a use for the television when you're not using it. Now the third TV in my shortlist was an interesting one. The Sony 55 A80J. It's an OLED TV. It's also a lot more expensive. Online, the TV was about 1.85 lakhs. And it's a fantastic TV, but yes, 1.85 is way over my budget. But the only reason I considered it is because the electronic shop near my place, they offered to sell me their unboxed display A80J TV. So this was the Sony TV that they had unboxed and put on display, and had only been on display for a month. But however, because it's a display piece, they gave me a good price. Instead of the 1.85 lakhs that it normally retails for, they were offering it at 1.2 lakhs. So again, it's in my budget. So the Xiaomi, the Samsung, and the Sony, all three in pretty much the same price range. However, the Sony was the smallest of the bunch at 55 inches. The Xiaomi 75, Samsung 65, and Sony 55. Xiaomi full array backlit, Samsung edge lit LED, again both those LCDs, and the Sony is an OLED. Now, by far Sony had the best picture. It looked fantastic. But my concerns were this. I'm going to use this in my living room and it gets really bright. As I said earlier, OLED displays look a little washed out when there's direct sunlight. The other issue is that at 55 inches, it seemed a little small to me, especially after seeing the 75 inches and 65 inches options of the other two. This seemed a little small. Here's my dilemma. I was torn between the 75-inch Xiaomi TV with a lot of great features, but in a lot of ways a regular old TV. The Samsung frame at 65 inches with not as many features as the Xiaomi, however, some really cool party tricks like the Samsung frame feature that I spoke of. And then there's the Sony, which is the smallest of the bunch, arguably the best picture quality, but at 55 inches, it did feel a little small. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put up this table. Let's see if you can guess which one I finally zeroed in on. Yeah, so the pros for the Xiaomi is one of the cheapest 75-inch TVs, QLED at 120 Hz, 192 local dimming zones. The cons for the MI Q1 is that the 120 Hz refresh rate is capped at 1080p, and at 75 inches, it may be a bit uncomfortable for some. Now the pros for the Samsung frame TV, the zero gap wall mount and one connect box along with the customizable bezels, the really bright QLED display which does support 4K 120, and art mode, which is a really interesting feature and something that I'd love to explore more. The cons for the Samsung frame is the fact that it's edge lit, so it doesn't have as good a contrast ratio in theory compared to some of the other full array backlit TVs. Now the pros for the Sony A80J, true blacks and best image quality, arguably some of the best upscaling AI algorithms as well. Now the cons for the A80J is that it doesn't get bright enough for a well-lit room, and it might be a little too small for some. It did feel like that for me. So yeah, which one did I go with? I went with the Samsung frame, and here's why. Size-wise, I think it was in that Goldilocks zone, as it wasn't too small like the Sony, and it didn't feel ever too large like the Xiaomi TV. But largely, it was its body feature, which made it double up as a painting on your wall, especially with those bezels. I'm going to show you a couple of photos of how the TV looks. Bear in mind, this is not my TV yet, because I've not yet received the customizable bezels. Once I get that, and once I play around with the settings of the TV a little bit more, I'll do another follow-up review, because I've had the TV for a couple of days now, and the software can be challenging at times. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But nothing worth considering avoiding this TV from that perspective. No major complaints. But I do want to do a proper video once I get the bezels and also once I get the TV wall mounted. Currently, it's just sitting on my table right here. I don't know if you can see it because I intentionally kept it out of view, but that's the TV. Side of it anyway. So yeah, we'll do a follow-up, but for now, thought I'll just share the shortlists that I came up with and the reasoning behind why I chose the TV that I chose. So with that, ProCon Grey signing off. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.